Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Desert Sky Adventures. It's Dave here. As you can see, we are not in the desert today. Today, the adventure brings us to the historic mining town of Kerby, Oregon, right here in southern Oregon on the Redwood Highway 199 on the Oregon side. This is a town, while it might be older than Tombstone, has a lot in common with Tombstone. Very rich mining history, economies that lived and died with that mining. And just like Tombstone, it has a few tales that may or may not actually be true. It's a town that at one time was the county seat, and much like Tombstone, lost the county seat to another more populated town right down the road. And much like Tombstone, it has several historical relics that have been left behind for us to check out today. So this is the Redwood Highway right in front of us. It's a route I've driven many times, and this building right here is the reason why I decided to take a look into the history of Kerby. Driving past this old Masonic lodge, or Masonic temple as it says there at the top, 1907. So typically when you find places that have a Masonic temple or Masonic lodge, there was some sort of larger population at one time, if not still. And when I saw this building, after driving by it so many times throughout my life, I thought, you know what, I should probably check into the history of this town. And so that's what I did.
In 1854, Mr. James Kerby obtained first donation land claim in what became Kerbyville, Oregon. Nearby goldfields attracted many miners, and the town became a center of commerce. Mr. Kerby became the town's first postmaster in September of 1855, when the first post office was established. In June of 1857, it became the county seat at an election at Kerby's ranch, beating out Grants Pass at that time, which became county seat in 1886. Through a barrage of names and political changes, the town grew to over 500 people, boasting 2 large hotels, many merchants, several saloons, and a 2-story sheriff's office with a close-by hanging tree. By the mid-1800s, Kerby started to decline, but not disappear. Though because of its past, it's declared a ghost town by many publications today, with a population of somewhere around 100 people. As years went on, the local saloons would have dwindled down to one, which was once the Ritz, then the Stony Front. The tavern was the center for nightlife and boxing competition as the Ritz, but the town now has one hotel, the historic Masonic Temple, the Stony Front Tavern, and a burlwood shop. One early legend told about Kirbyville is that in the 1850s, a mule skinner was hired to deliver a pool table to a Jacksonville saloon. He traveled from Crescent City through the Illinois Valley, over the Strong Cold Mountain Trail. The man chose his strongest mule to carry the heaviest part of the pool table, but the mule only made it as far as Kirbyville before he died of exhaustion. On the spot, the driver decided to build a saloon at the site of the donkey's demise. Even if this legend is true, there's no way the Stony Front Tavern could have been the location of the pool table, as this place wasn't built until, at least we're told, 1937 by the current ownership. Over here in the corner is where they held the boxing matches. And this fireplace is, we're told, over 100 years old and at one time was outside. They built the Stony Front Tavern around the fireplace. Similar to the pool table legend, just not an actual pool table. Kerbyville's name was changed to Napoleon in 1856 by the territorial legislature, but a lot of people didn't like that name or couldn't spell it. So eventually, it was changed back to Kerbyville, and then shortened to Kerby as it's known today.
This is probably the most impressive historic building, at least that's still in its original location. I know that at some point this was converted into a house, I believe. There's a studio on the bottom of some sort. But I know this is a private residence now, so I don't think there's a whole lot to see in there. But it's definitely an interesting old building that's been sitting here for quite some time. I've heard this house right here on the corner. I get some mixed opinions on this one. I've heard from some locals that this is a historic home right here, and I've heard from some others that it is actually not, but it looks a lot older than it actually is. And I don't really know the true story behind this house, but I see some folks over here. This was not pre-planned, so I don't know. Let's see what happens.
I happened to swing by here on a good day as the owner was here at the time, and he's currently remodeling this building into kind of a retro, nostalgic Irish pub type of thing. But he told me this building was built in 1876, and it has the original doors on it that we're looking at right now. Luckily for us, the owner of this place was more than happy to let us take a look around inside. But apparently this building was a lodge for the Independent Order of Oddfellows. The Independent Order of Oddfellows is an international, non-political, and non-sectarian fraternal and service organization founded in the 18th century in England. It originated from working-class people who band together to create common funds to support each other during times of sickness, unemployment, or death, long before government social safety nets existed. They were called Oddfellows because helping mankind was peculiar for the time, but the name stuck. Here in the back room is this desk we're told is original to the building. When I zoom in here, you can see it is labeled IOOF for International Order of Oddfellows, Lodge number 55. We're also allowed to take a look upstairs. This old safe here, we're told, is original to the building.
Wow, this is the old glass.
Yeah, there's a lot of that still in here. Some panels had to be replaced.
There's probably nobody alive today that can tell us what the IOOF did in this upper part of the building, but it felt very much to me like a Masonic lodge. Strangely enough, the original doors have these little speakeasy slides on them, so I can only wonder what happened up here.
This is a fantastic old building. Let me back up and get a shot of this side. It's definitely been well maintained throughout the years and currently undergoing a renovation. So I can't wait to come back and see how it turns out. So three of probably the oldest Kerby buildings still standing. You got the Stony Front restaurant across the street. You got the Masonic Lodge right here. And then what I just learned was the Oddfellow Lodge right across the street. I'd like to thank the owner for letting us take a look inside. Even though it's not done yet, we're gonna come back after it's all completed and check it out.
The Kirbyville Museum and History Center holds many exhibits and artifacts that tell the story of the settlement of the Illinois Valley and the glory days of Kerbyville. And the crown jewel of this museum is the Nauke House, built in 1880. We'll see that in just a little bit. I've driven past this museum many times, and I had no idea there was so much stuff in here. It really is a very cool museum, not just Illinois Valley history, but tons of vintage Americana history as well. There's no way I can show you everything that was in this museum, but if you come here for yourself, you might spend just a few hours looking around at all the relics they have in here. I found it to be pretty amazing. This historical post office desk dates back to the 1800s when it had an original home in the Waldo store. Waldo, Oregon is just a few miles down the road from Kerby. It was moved to the Kerby post office in 1920. Post office department records show that a post office was established at Kerby, Josephine County on September 4th, 1856. This museum also has a very cool military wing, and in here you can see artifacts from every single American war. To me, the best part of this museum is the Naki House, an original home that's been here since the 1800s. We'll see that in just a little bit. But first, we're going to go back here and check out the original barn. This museum is just full of these old relics everywhere you look. I was having such a good time exploring this place that I completely lost track of the time I was inside, which ended up being a couple hours. If you look closely on the wall here, you can see where the press room was added onto the original barn at some point in the past. And inside the press room is this gigantic, old printing press that had been used for decades in this area and was retired here at the Kirbyville Museum. Welcome to the William and Nanny Nauke House. Both William and his wife, Nanny, were born in Prussia, Germany in the 1840s. They married and came to the United States and settled in San Francisco, where William opened up a restaurant. In 1879, he came north to the town of Kerby, Oregon, seeking a change. At a sheriff's auction for $5, he purchased the 1.94 acres of land that today is the Kirbyville Museum. During that time, he hired Mr. James Stith to build this 2-story house for his family that included 3 boys, Oscar, Theodore, and Alfred, and his 2 daughters, Natalie and Delia. One of the sons apparently missing from this family photo. After William died in 1898, his wife and son Alfred continued living in the house until Nanny died in 1906. The house served as a showcase for the community, in which both William and Nanny were very active. William started a general store, and his store also served as the stagecoach stop and Kerby Post Office, established in 1856, which also happens to be the second oldest post office in Oregon. This bathroom was added on in the 1930s. They took part of the original back porch, you can see the original exterior wood siding on the walls, and made it a bathroom, which must have been a major improvement over having to go out to the outhouse in the cold of night. This mostly period-correct home was absolutely fascinating to explore. It's almost as if I walked through the front door and left the world of today behind me and stepped right into the past. But since I'd never been here before, I decided to quietly explore so that you could see, hear, and experience the same way that I did. In the 1930s, under President Franklin Roosevelt, the Rural Electrification Program helped bring electricity to many rural parts of the United States. This house still uses the original glass fuses in the electrical panel box. If you plug in too many electrical items into one outlet, the lead strip inside the glass fuse quickly melts and breaks apart, thus tripping the circuit breaker and shuts off the power to prevent a major blowout and fire. The plumbing was very basic and probably connected to a leach field at one time. It is very important not to get the well water used for cooking and cleaning contaminated. In the 1870s, a diphtheria epidemic struck the valley, and entire families died from drinking contaminated water.
think this is one of the more complete Old West houses. I mean, we've got a couple things like this in Tombstone, but nothing this big. You can actually walk through. It reminds me very much of the Whaley House in San Diego, if you've ever been there. Except it's pretty much a full entire house. Like, everything is where it should be. And you can walk through the whole place, which is pretty cool. But definitely one of the more... Ooh, these stairs are tiny. One of the more accurate Old West houses I've ever seen. Just from beginning to end, it's pretty impressive. This is the view they would have had out their front door. Minus the cars, of course.
The Sucker Creek School District was organized in 1898 under County School Superintendent Lincoln Savage. The Grimmett School was a log building constructed by Grover Grimmett and his neighbor George W. Baldwin on the Grimmett home site that was once located at the base of the Oregon Caves Mountains. The walls were made of hand-peeled logs, and the roof was made of hand-honed cedar shakes. The first term began on November 19, 1900, and closed on March 8, 1901. The log building was abandoned as a school in the spring of 1906. And as far as is known, remains today one of the sole surviving log schoolhouses in the state of Oregon, located within the same county where it was built. The original building was carefully taken down log by log under direction of Josephine County Historical Society and was reassembled on the site at the museum.
So there was one more relic over here I wanted to check out. The Pit House, it's called. I'm not really sure what this is. Let's take a closer look. Designed to be easily moved from place to place as a shelter for up to 6 during hunting and food gathering. I guess that's really all you need. Temporary shelter, place to stay warm. Not too bad. This place is pretty amazing. For $8, I don't think you're gonna beat it, but I've driven past this place many times. This is the first time I've ever stopped in. I had no idea that they had so much stuff here to see, but this is really great. This is right up there with some of the museums you see in more historical places, or at least more well-known historical places. But yeah, very cool place. So one of the more notorious spots in the town of Kerby is right here at this place, abandoned motel called Holiday Motel. And to me, it always kind of reminded me of the Bates Motel. It's on the same side of the road as the Bates Motel was. In fact, I believe in the original movie that Bates Motel was in Oregon. And here we are in Oregon, but the only thing that's missing is the house on the hill, the creepy house back there. But this place has been closed for a few years. I'm not exactly sure when this place was built, but according to what the locals say, there was some human trafficking occurring through here. This place was like kind of the hub for human trafficking and cartel action. And so that got broken up. And then after that, the guy who owned this place apparently killed himself. Not clear if it's related to the cartel and all that stuff, but yeah, very strange. Place is still here, still abandoned. Don't know what's gonna happen to it. So another thing I just learned is that right around the corner from here is an old historic cemetery. And again, I've been through here many times in the past, but I didn't even know it was there. So we're gonna head down the road, and a lot of the original Kerby residents that were buried in this old cemetery. And it's something I've driven past many times. At least it's off on a side street, but I didn't know it was even there. So we're gonna go check it out. Hopefully it's pretty cool and historic. We'll see, it's just right around the corner. The cemetery is beautiful. It's on the side of this hill. There are historic grave markers everywhere that you look. Everywhere. I wasn't aware of it at the time of filming, but this grave here belonged to Alfred Naki, son of William Naki, whose house we explored earlier in the video. I've been in quite a few old cemeteries, but this is definitely the one that has been the best maintained. Out in Arizona, you don't really see a whole lot of cemeteries with the graves that are this old. And yet you can still read. You can tell by looking that some of these are original. Unlike Boot Hill Cemetery, and even some of the cemeteries in the area where gravestones have been recreated at some point. But there are many. Look at that, died in 1876, 1871. Many original grave markers all around this area. It's really something to see. I can't believe how many historic gravestones there are in this cemetery. Just about every one of them. Someone who died around the turn of the century, late 1800s. It's just really fascinating to be in a graveyard in a place that's older than Tombstone. It's not too hard to find those historic graves, and many of them you can still read clearly. It's not like out in the desert where most of the stones are either damaged or so faded that you can't read them. But it's really an interesting and peaceful place. I'm really glad we decided to come out here. I would love to walk all over this entire cemetery, but it's a pretty good size. It goes down the hill, up the hill. There's no way I could show you everything that's here, but it's a pretty interesting place to walk around.
I didn't realize it at the time either, but this is the grave of Nanny Naki, mother of Alfred and wife of William.
All right, folks, well, that's going to wrap up our look at the little known historic mining town, Kerby, Oregon. Place that has a good amount in common with Tombstone. But that's what we've got for you today, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe. Those things really help us out, and they don't cost you a thing. But that's going to be it for today, folks. So until next time, until the next video, see you down the road.